So we're hopping in here for you to take a look here. This is the back end, so it's a little dirty, what you're going to see as far as like the design side of things. But this is the Autism Medical Journal. If any of you are like me, I mentioned this, you had binders, paperwork, all the printed stuff, or you have all the digital files on your computer. Sometimes it's nice to just have one reference point with all your child's information. So this is a place where you can keep all of that data. This is available on my Etsy store, Autism Advocating on Etsy, and it will be coming soon, available to buy in the spiral bound print format soon. Check back with me, send me a DM if you're wondering when it's available or if it's available yet. But these are the sections we're looking at. There's 3 sections. The first section is like all the details where you can put it all in one place. If you're just starting your autism journey, you're just starting to get diagnosed, this is really helpful because you can write, especially like the milestones, your family history, all that information in one place. Take this information with you. If it's a digital format, I recommend something like GoodNotes is an app that you can have on your phone, and you put this digital formatted document, it's a PDF document really is what it is, that you can open in GoodNotes. You can add your information right there in GoodNotes, handwritten or type it if you're a perfectionist like me who doesn't like their handwriting, and you can put it in GoodNotes, and then you can pull it up anytime on your phone if you're at a doctor's appointment and you need to reference information. A lot of time you get asked, when did they first sit up? When did they first start crawling? When did they say their first word? If they said their first word, all of that information, and especially if you're first getting diagnosed, you get asked it time and time and time again, and to have to relive that and pull out the baby book or just even rack your memory for it, or maybe you're not, which is all of that so hard. You have one area where you can go and reference this information. Also, family history. I keep bothering my parents or different people for their family history. When did this happen? When were you diagnosed with this? That sort of information. You can put this in one location and be able to reference it. Then also you can start keeping together your child's information. When did they see this doctor? When did they see this specialist? Where is the specialist located? What's their address, phone number, yada, 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 which you get asked every time you go to a different specialist. Well, who did you see? When did you see them? All of that information can be kept in one location. Because now what I found, I have printed documents from when my son started. He's 11, so I have a bunch of printed documents. I put them in 3-ring binders by, like, I have county information, I have doctors, I have schools, they each have a binder. But now everything's digital and it's in my chart or whatever version of my chart that the doctor or specialist uses, and you have all the different logins and informations and everything. And I'm like, you gotta be kidding, I need it in one space. So this is my solution to that for me and my family. So I wanted to put it out there for others. I did it for a friend, and I put it in a notebook and gave it to her. She was just starting out, and so she could handwrite it, and I'm like, that's not very user friendly. So I'm going to give her this file as well. The second section of this digital file is when your child is newly diagnosed. You can keep all the information. Where did you go? What type of testing was performed? What was the outcome? When my child was diagnosed, it was level 1, 2, 3 for AS, and then he was diagnosed by developmental pediatrician at a children's hospital. So that's the type of information that I would put in there. And then I can keep the information of, all of that, the phone number, the address, the details in there. You still will obviously probably need at some point like the official diagnosis report, depending on what you're using the information for, but you have the basics that you can keep right in here as well. And then section 3, let me just skip to this section real quick. And while we're skipping through here, I just want to show you some of the different things. Here's medications, supplements, important dates, like what happened, what were your thoughts on for these different events, that sort of thing. If your child has a medical appointment, you could start this before the appointment. What questions do you have? What's the reason for the visit? And then afterwards, you can write out what the outcome of the visit was, a diagnosis. Is this going to be a reoccurring type of visit? I liked how this feeling afterwards with this, just the faces, the doctor and the clinic information, and then any notes that you can add there. And each of these in the digital file, I did make additional copy of the pages, but if you're using something like GoodNotes, you can duplicate these pages as many times as you need. So right now, I believe there are 20 pages of the medical appointment. If you need more than that, you just duplicate it right in that software. Additionally, here is the test procedures. So like my son had an EEG. When that was done, who ordered it, what was the outcome, what was the date, any follow-up questions, any additional notes, like we absolutely adored the person who did the anesthesia, and I wanted to make note of who that was, so that way if we had to go back to this facility again and he needed to have any anesthesia, I would request that anesthesiologist in a heartbeat, hands down again, and work with that person again. So those types of things can be kept in this one document as well. And the doctors and specialists, like this is to me one of the most important pages too. Who are your doctors? Who are your specialists? Here's their information. You can also do by visit if you want to, like maybe you only see the specialist periodically. We saw a genetic specialist and we only had two, we knew we were only going to have 2 visits. So you could just put in like the dates that you've seen that specialist and the reason for the visits, all in the same document as well. And so unless it's, like a primary, whatever, you'd have multiple visits. But if it's a specialist that you're not going to see very often, you can put it all in that same page. Brief stop here on the section 2 with this newly diagnosed page that I was talking about. The diagnosis that you received, if there's any follow-up with that diagnosing professional, if you're following up with any additional testing that needs to be performed, anything like that. If you have any follow-up questions, I don't know if you're like me, anytime I go to an appointment, I inevitably leave and have multiple questions afterwards. So that this is a good area to put those follow-up questions in, and you can come back or go into the My Chart. Also, there's another page here for this newly diagnosed where you can write in those follow-up tasks, okay? So my child was diagnosed. What do I feel like I need to do now? Write those in. What calls do I need to make? What did they, tasks did they recommend doing? And that, that could go in the recommendations received as well. They recommended we get this additional testing or, additional things like that. And then just a note from me at the bottom, it's okay to not be okay. It's a hard thing when you're newly diagnosed and just being an autism parent. So, and then here in section 3 is the things to know and things to help. Here's a list of different therapies. So I always forget I shouldn't say always forget, but sometimes I forget, okay, we're struggling with X, Y, and Z. What might help? And this is a thing that you can go back, an area you can go back and reference multiple times. Maybe it's a different therapy we need to go visit again, or maybe we're struggling in one area and maybe music therapy would be good, or going back to writing therapy, or, different things like that, or feeding therapy. My son's been in and out of feeding therapy. Speech physical therapy is constant in our world. Feeding therapy is almost constant in our world. Adaptive swimming is extremely important for kiddos with autism, so I can't stress that one enough. Autism day treatment we did, that took my son from being nonverbal to developing pre-verbal skills. So love autism day treatment. And then I talk about a little bit of the different therapies. This will be an evolving document. If this document gets updated, I will send out a new document. Also, there's a school section here with some different things to think about, talk about. Make sure you're learning about these areas, exploring these areas. Same here, this is a research page that I included with different terms, different things that I didn't know. I didn't know for the first year and a half, maybe longer, about some of these areas that I should have known. I didn't know about biomedicine, and this is learning about your child's genetic makeup essentially and what is missing from your child. They're like, my son is low on vitamin D. He does not maintain vitamin D, and so he has to take a supplement like 5,000 IUs per day, and he is not getting to normal limits of his vitamin D. He's not getting into the normal range for vitamin D, even when he's doing vitamin D with K. Like, that's how you're supposed to be able to better absorb it and everything. We just constantly, we started at 1,000 IUs, and we kept building and building to try and get to a point where he could get within normal limits. Not happening. Also, this biomedical physician that we see, she's been wonderful. If you're in the Minneapolis-St. Paul area, Holland Center, Dr. Kelly is who I highly recommend. She has been amazing, and we were able to find out exactly what supplements he needs to be taking, and those have been game changers for us. So the autism day treatment I mentioned, and different early intervention options are key. ECFE for your child when they're younger, there's in-home opportunities. Make sure you're checking those out. Autism schools, public school alternatives, you know, around that whole saying, or we can't fit square peg in a round hole. Sometimes public school doesn't fit for every kiddo, so check out other opportunities in your area. Grants and waivers within the county that you live in. Make sure you check those out. This is what I didn't know about. I thought my son got diagnosed. We were told a social worker would contact us. That was wrong information. They do not contact you. You have to contact them. Again, if you're in Minneapolis, St. Paul, you can call Front Door Services. I believe they're still the ones that you can contact to help get you in touch with a social worker. And the same with paid parent and the county programs. They can help you get in touch with the correct people to get you started, to get you going with grants, waivers, paid parent, respite care, all of the things. So yeah, that's what this list is for, is so you just kind of have a list of things to look into. Make sure you're checking out these different things. Medical insurance, you don't have to rely on your primary insurance. Minnesota, there's a thing called TEFRA. I don't know what that is for other states, but it was a secondary insurance that was income based, that you paid a fee based off your income. It recently, I want to say in the last year or two, went to a free program and then turned into zero. Yeah, so there's zero fee. And so now my son is no longer on our primary. He is 100% under TEFRA, which is paid medical assistance program. I don't know if he's still considered TEFRA or if he's just considered medical assistance, but he has a disability certification, which is called a SMRT certification. Again, that's Minnesota specific. I don't know what other states have, but make sure you're checking into these things. Social Security, incomes and opportunity, and PACER is an advocacy group out of Minnesota that I know they do work with other states, people out of other states as well. They have a lending library, which is amazing. You can literally check things out from their library of items to see if they will work for your child. So my child struggles with low muscle tone, so they have adaptive pencils and pens and different things to help him learn to write. Like, who knew? You can try it out before you buy something, because how many times do you buy 10 different things trying to find one thing that works for your child? So they have a lending library if you're local, but they also have the advocacy group. So if you're struggling with the public school system and you need help with your IEP or your 504 plan, that sort of thing, they can help guide you. And in some cases, they even come into the school with you and will sit down with you and help mediate between the school. So again, big list of different resources and such. Also, after this, pages of notes for you to just keep all your information together. So hopefully this can be a good resource for individuals. And it's a digital format right now. It will be available very soon in a print format. So like I said, DM me, comment below. Let me know if you're interested in the print format, and I will let you know if it's available and give you the link. So hope this helps to take a look at it and kind of get a full walkthrough of what it looks like. I hope it's got everything you need. If there's something missing that you think might be helpful, leave me a comment and let me know. And you never know, might be able to include it, and I will let you know if it gets updated. Again, if you've purchased it and I do update it, I'll just provide you with the newest document and give you a video of how to transfer your information to the new document or to incorporate the changes into your original document. So thank you so much for checking it out. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Shoot me a DM. Happy to help. Okay, take care.